Hey guys, welcome to our deal of the week. We've got a pretty nice house in Pinellas Park, 1,456 square feet, priced at 249 a square foot. Anytime I see anything under 250 a square foot that's move-in ready, that's pretty exciting. This house has a pool, kind of. We'll get to that in a few minutes. Um, and it is in Pinellas Park. So let's take a look on the map just so that you get an idea of exactly where it is in Pinellas Park. So you are probably about 25 minutes to downtown, probably equidistant, maybe 30 minutes to the beach. So a pretty decent central location here in a pretty solid neighborhood. But let's go through our 4 rules for snagging a great deal in today's buyer's market. And as I've been saying, we're definitely in a buyer's market. Number one, you set the price. If it's been on the market a month or more, that means it's overpriced. There's no question about that. We would like to stick to established neighborhoods at this point. Buying in an up-and-coming neighborhood or the next hot neighborhood may not be the best approach, because if that neighborhood stalls out, flippers are not willing to, come in and do the renovations. The interest rates are too high. The opportunities aren't there. You end up getting stuck, and maybe it's going to take you longer to recoup your investment than you'd like. So stick to established neighborhoods to the extent that you can. Try to stick with low maintenance properties. Always scan the description for things like newer roof, AC, electrical, plumbing updates, if at all possible. These can be insurance issues. So, once you get past 15 years on a roof, you're going to have some insurance issues. And I'll always stick with broad appeal features, especially in a flat or softer market. They tend to sell faster. 2-bedroom, 1-baths, while perfectly fine. There's a million of them in St. Pete. When things get a little tighter economically, even if, say, a single person buys a house and they're perfectly happy with a 2-1, it sort of eliminates a roommate possibility, and a lot of those people start looking at 2-2s. So 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 3-2, if at all possible, in case you need to sell more quickly than you'd hope. So this one's at 8795 56th Street North. We've had a total of 58,000. This is just weird. Like, so many houses now, and once they hit the 60-day mark, we start seeing these huge price drops. $58,000 price drop. And if we look at the overall price action on this house, we went on the market back in April, which was right when things were starting to teeter a little bit, and we started to see sort of buyers less enthusiastic starting in April, and then it just got worse through the summer. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 price drops, and that's what 40. It's 60, almost, yeah, $58,000 went from 288 a square foot down to under 250 a square foot. You're starting to get into that situation where you're like, okay, this is not bad. Because look at this, they bought it in November of 2020. So this was pandemic pricing at 268. Now we're only at 362. So, this house a little bit cheaper is, starts to become really, really attractive. So let's take a buzz through the pictures. There's no garage here, you'll notice. And I'm going to assume that this was a 2-1 originally. This driveway would have gone right into the garage here. They did a kind of a nice job incorporating the garage into the rest of the house. And the curb appeal is pretty good, I would say. Looks nice and clean inside. Looks like newer floors there. Solid surface countertops. I mean, this is not a flip. The person who bought it in 2020 bought it renovated. So the renovation, I would guess, is probably 5 or 6 years old. Bedrooms are decent size. And this is the primary suite, which is what the garage was. And that's why it's a long, more narrow room. And they actually got 2 bedrooms out of this garage. Bathrooms are smaller. And we'll see from the floor plan later. So a nice screen porch in the back. Now they have this house listed as pool. Obviously this is a pool, but above ground pools typically don't add much value. And in fact, more than half the time, new buyers would rather have them remove the pool. It could be in very good shape and you may want to keep it. That would be up to you. It's a smaller, above ground pool. That looks like a newer dryer right there. So a decent sized backyard. All right, so here's the floor plan. It's a, I don't want to say it's weird, but it doesn't, you have a second bedroom all the way down the end of this hall, which is next to the primary, a long, very long, narrow bedroom. Don't think the house was set up this way originally. And it looks like the garage was turned into that bedroom 3 and the bathroom. So these must have been the 2 original bedrooms. It's really, really hard to tell, actually. So kind of a split plan. The second bedroom has a ways to go to get to a bathroom, and it really is the primary bedroom's bathroom. So the layout is, I'm going to be honest with you, you wouldn't design a house that way if you're going to build it, but that's what you get in St. Pete a lot of times when houses have been reconfigured or added onto. But overall, a pretty nice, clean house. And let's look at some of the specifics here. All right, so let's go through the rules check here. And this was listed 162 days ago, so over 5 months ago at $420. 7 price changes. Obviously, they're trying to find out where they're going to get some activity. This is a pretty established neighborhood here. You'll see from the street view that the homes are similar size and condition. The roof is 4.5 years old, so that's good. We don't know about the other systems. We don't know if there's any plumbing, electrical updates. We don't know what the AC is. Before we went to see the house, I'd like to know the age of the AC at the very least. We would say this has generally good broad appeal. It is a 3-2, but no garage, so points off for that. And the primary and second bedroom are kind of behind each other, and that primary bedroom is long and narrow, so the layout's not ideal. They have an above-ground pool that doesn't really add value. That's not what we would necessarily call a pool home because those things don't last forever. But not that big a deal. The neighborhood crime rating shows a 4 out of 10, which is pretty good. And the price value, it's right on the mark for this part of Pinellas Park, $248 a square foot versus $249. So, I'd like this house at maybe 20 or 25,000 less. And what this does, it gives you some downside protection if the market softens a little bit more. There's no worse feeling than buying a house for 400 and then looking at the Zestimate a year later and it's worth 365. If you go in a little bit low, given the amount of time this house has been in the market, you may be able to snag yourself a deal. So let me know what you think. This is in Pinellas Park. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, decent size at 1,456 square feet, under $250 a square foot, which I love. Low crime score, not a flood zone out here. Coming down 58,000 off of the original price, so we would assume that we've got some motivated sellers here. So make a comment, let me know, subscribe to the channel. We're going to bring you deals of the week a couple of times every week, or as often as I find them. My name is Steve Reynolds, and if you're looking to buy or sell in St. Pete, shoot me a text, give me a call, send me an email. I'd love to help you out, and I will see you next time.